freeze there for a moment. You swear you've locked eyes with this warg. You swear that it can see you, and you're really uncomfortable with that fact right now. Probably 2 minutes pass, where you're literally just staring at the warg as the warg stares in your direction, and it's breathing slowly, and it's looking. It hasn't made any moves, so you haven't run for it. And eventually, it and slowly puts its head back on the ground. And as soon as you feel like it's safe, you bolt as you successfully make it out of the camp.
So there were 5 and 5.
6 or 7 of each. 6 or 7 of each.
Job, Edrihel.
Eventually,
All right.
make your way back to the camp.
Yes.
Everyone else, Edrihell's been gone for like an hour at this point.
Charlie.
So about 4:45 minutes in. Well, I think it's safe to assume that he's dead.
Torn just ignores you. Actually, he goes up to you and says, Chad, you seem mighty and strong. And Dala, you too. Maybe we should hide the warg and hide the goblin, just in case someone comes over here, they won't see what we've done. Yeah, maybe put them in the bushes or something.
I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of it. I say we display it for the world to see. The darkness thinks you can take over my world. You got another thing coming, Mr. Darkness, whoever you may be. See, I have this theory that there's one guy who's like super dark, bad guy, and if we take him out, the whole thing goes down. It's like a head of the snake scenario. And if we get him, we get everybody. That's just my thought, though. That's what I think about.
You thought what this guy's name could be, out of curiosity?
I don't know, like Sharon or something.
Sharon.
Ed Sharon. Torn just walks away while he's talking. He's just shaking his head. After like 15 minutes,
wow.
After 15 minutes, can I go searching for some Athelas in the area?
Natural one. You find this place that's completely
Make a survival check.
Can I use investigation or is it survival?
I think I've let you do it before, so I'll let you do it again. Although I shouldn't, but I will.
It's up to you. I can use.
I think I already have. Some should be consistent.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Rada helps me with bits of investigation, so that's why I always try to use that. It's impossible. All right. Okay. 18.
18. Okay. Over the course of a couple of minutes, you look for some Athelas, and there is a patch of like shrubbery near just a green area with a tree or two, and around the base of the tree there are some shrubs, and you're able to kind of poke around. You do get a couple pieces of Athelas, enough for maybe trying to make like 2 potions with it.
Awesome. I'll wait another 5 minutes, and if Edrihel doesn't return, I will try to make I'm trying to make the kind that cures exhaustion, because I'm anticipating we won't get a long rest.
Okay, go ahead and at this point, yeah, the 5 minutes are going to pass. He's not going to be here, so go ahead and do the what is the check? Do you remember?
I don't remember what we
Why
used
am I
last
blanking
time.
out all of a sudden? Yeah.
Was it medicine or? I'm not sure what we used last time. It might be
Crafting is an intelligence check.
Survival, I think that we used. wasn't it?
It requires
Also, I think-
either an herbalism kit or a poisoner's kit, and then the check itself uses intelligence. I'm looking at the actual.
Oh yeah, okay. I do have
herb-
herbalism, and because of my special skill, I do 2 times my proficiency plus my dex.
Expertise. There you go. Yep. So an intelligence check, and then you add double your proficiency bonus, which I believe is 2. So you add 4. Because I believe it goes to 3 at level 5.
So when Edrahel left, Haley would have sat down and just kind of leaned up against a rock.
Okay.
And very quickly would have kind of started to doze off. So she's just like in the corner.
Okay.
So as I see Haley doze off, I gotta shake her. Hey, you've only cooked one part of the breakfast. You gotta finish it. I can't just eat bacon. That's not health. That's not a well balance. You got a little more than that.
I dig into my bag and I pull out a cookie and I give him the cookie.
Now that is well balanced. It's a
And then,
perfect
like,
balance
how
of
much is-
sugar and eggs and oats and
Okay. Derek, how'd you do on that check?
Sorry.
Should have just gave him a raw egg.
19, if I'm editing everything correctly.
Yeah, so it's intelligence plus double your proficiency, so it should be intelligence plus 4.
Okay, sorry, 17.
17's enough. So the first batch is successful. Go ahead and do it again for the second batch.
Also, can I hide them? The words.
Can you hide what?
Can I hide the wards? Right? Is that what we?
The warg and the hobgoblin? You mean like their bodies?
Yeah, I want to hide. Yeah. Like, do we have like any? I
Okay.
don't know, like a bush or something.
Yeah, that would be a survival check as well. You're trying to camouflage their bodies. So go ahead and make a survival check to start doing that.
My next check was a 13.
Okay, 1 second. Double checking Ethelis itself.
I got
What,
a 16.
You got a 16? Okay. So with a 16, you are able to find some pieces of shrubbery and foliage and things, and you're able to eventually cover up their bodies. It does take you about 10 or 15 minutes, but eventually you are indeed able to cover their corpses, and you're good to go with that. So it
Awesome.
was successful.
Chad does not approve, but Chad will not act on his impulses.
Good to know.
Bro, he's too preoccupied by the cookie.
Yeah, it's kind of pacified me, you know.
So you just need to give them more often, is what you're saying.
Yes. Exactly what she said.
Just drooling a little bit.
Eventually I'm gonna run out of cookie.
I know, and then I'm just gonna be in a permanent state of fury, because you know. So I'll go, Dollar. How strong you be?
How strong you be? Don't know how strong you be.
Stronger than you.
I know that. That's what I was asking.
There we go.
Because I was thinking, I'm a wee little man, and you're a big old woman. So I was thinking, you pick me up one day, and you throw me at the enemy, and then I'll get him for the gullet. And but I gotta make sure that you're strong enough to do it.
So the 13 is successful. You got 2 from each of the 2 batches you did, so you have a total of 4 charges, if you will, being able to remove a point of exhaustion.
Awesome.
One per person.
Gotcha. Edgerhell did not have exhaustion. Is that correct? Because you had full rest. How many people had
exhaustion? Haley still had it. Eldikar, Chad, and Dala, do any of you three have you still have a point of exhaustion on your character sheet?
I don't
think
I
so.
don't think so, because I think it was skilled in that round. I remember correctly. I could be wrong though, but I don't have it.
So currently only Haley and then Rada exhaustion. Is that correct?
Looks
Okay.
like.
I don't think we'll get a full rest, so I'll go ahead and use one, so I can heal up to 4 people. Like I almost make a tea out of it, and the powder, the aroma arises, and you feel Haley and Rada, your exhaustion should lift. So if we don't get a long rest, you guys should be okay.
All right. Eventually, Adriel does make it back to the group. It's the middle of the night. He is not found anywhere in particular to move camp. You did discover that if that's the group that the Hobgoblin and Warg that you fought came from, that group is currently sleeping. So what would you guys like to do?
I told the group, by the way.
Okay, well, say we sneak in there, dark as the shadows, and then I'll get a warg, you guys get a warg, everybody gets a warg, and then we travel to town riding on wargs the entire way. Imagine that. Just think about for a minute. It's pretty cool.
We build a wall again around the hobgoblins.
Gordon says, if you guys do that, you're on your own.
I said on our own warg. That's what I'm saying. So if we all get our own warg, I'm gonna think about it. I'm standing. I'm gonna have one foot on each one, doing like a split, and then we'll be running, and it'll be good. So that's my plan. I don't know about you guys.
Nope. It ain't happening.
I said, you really want to waste this beautiful night of stealth and espionage, go sleeping in your bedroll, and we could be out there.
I think so try if the camp, the Hobgoblin camp is in our path.
Yeah.
We should use the fact that they're all sleeping to sneak past. Because can you imagine if we're gonna like go where we're going in the morning and there's just a camp there for where, I don't know if they decided to stay there a couple of nights or if they're gonna get up in the morning and move. So we might as well try and get past that camp while they're sleeping.
I like it up to the point where you say get past them. I feel like sometimes you gotta go through the wall, not around it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so think for a minute. Now, I may not be the most smartest man, the most smartest man that's ever lived. I'm not even a man. I'm a dwarf. All right, Dollar. Okay, I'll appreciate you 2 coins in the matter. But this is what I say.
Haley starts gathering her things while Chad is talking and just starts walking off into the direction of like she's just gone. She's just
Tor's right behind her, and he tells Edgerhell, lead the way around the camp, please.
So my last point is simply this. Imagine this. Morning comes, they're all alive, we're on an open plain. They're gonna see us from a mile away. Right now, we got darkness on our side, and we also got stealth. We got they can see miles. I can even see a mile, and I'm a dwarf.
Are you actually yelling right now, Chad?
Yeah, I'm yelling after him.
Okay, then I need to make some perception checks because they're close enough.
You guys are walking away. How am I supposed to communicate?
You're supposed to follow us.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have said that.
That's why we're all gonna die.
Man.
Well, that's one way to end the campaign.
I'm just, all I'm saying is if we get the stealthy approach on him, we'll be pretty okay.
Just shut up.
Just shut up. Are we supposed to be going to like some final boss thing or something? Or...
Yeah, they're actually coming to us now.
All right, so Edrel, go and make another survival check if you attempt to lead the party, giving a wide berth to the wargs and hobgoblin camp.
Survival 16.
Okay. So probably about 30-45 minutes pass. You guys get about a mile closer to Emin Arnen, which is your destination. You're able to put a fair bit of distance between you and the camp of those creatures. Are you guys going to set up camp just the nearest place you can, or do you just want to keep going?
I'm gonna try and get as close as we can since we're already pretty, like we kind of got a head start in the middle of the night.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. Torin, the effect that you had could have affected 4 people, but only 2 people had points of exhaustion, correct?
Correct.
Pick 2 other party members that would have been close by.
That would have been close by?
Yeah, because it could have affected 2 more. So I'm going to give those 4 people a chance at avoiding the point of exhaustion from not going to sleep.
Gotcha. Aldakar and Dala, we'll say.
Okay. So Edrahel, you don't take a point of exhaustion because you got a long rest. Nebuchadnezzar, you have a point of exhaustion. You gain 1 from not getting a long rest. So that's disadvantage on ability checks. Eldakar, Dala, Torin, and Haley, I need each of you to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw. The DC is 12. If you succeed, you do not take a point of exhaustion.
I got a 15.
Torin got a natural 20. I'm assuming I have to roll for Rada.
Yes. Yeah.
He got a 12.
Okay. Eldakar?
I got a 6.
Got a 15.
And Dala got 15. Okay, so Eldakar, you get a point of exhaustion. Looks like you and Nebuchadnezzar are the only ones that get one. Again, that's just disadvantage on ability checks because you only have the 1 point. Everyone else is exhaustion free.
Eldakar's one of the ones I chose to benefit. Did he still get the exhaustion? Sorry, I got confused.
You guys got to roll to avoid it, and he failed that roll because naturally you just get a point of exhaustion. There is no roll. So gotcha. he had the opportunity to roll to avoid it, but he did not make it.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Usually you don't make a con save; you just automatically get a point of exhaustion. All right. So you guys are just continuing through the night and just making headway towards your destination. All right. So who is? What's the marching order? Do you want to do that diamond shape you guys were talking about?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
sure,
Edrahel's in the front because he's leading the pack. That means that behind him on the left side and behind him on the right side, there will be 2 people on each side, and then 1 person making the point in the back. So who's going to be in the very back of the party?
Which way are the wargs and stuff?
The wargs will be behind you at this point.
So Dala wants to be in the back, and I'll be near her. So I'll get ready to take the full brunt of that force when they come running.
All right, I'm just gonna make myself a little drawing here.
Artwork.
All right, so we got Edrahel at the front, Dala in the back, and then Nebuchadnezzar, you wanted to be near Dala.
So I guess back right.
Back right. Okay, that's where you will be, Nebuchadnezzar. Who wants to be next to Nebuchadnezzar on the right side? Eldakar, you got it. All right.
Choice.
And then we got Torin and Haley on the left side. Torin, because you have the dog and you tend to like to see stuff, you go with being in the front on the left?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Are we on horses?
You don't have enough horses for everybody, but I imagine some people are on horses probably.
Okay, because it'd probably be good for me to be riding either horses or Rada.
Yeah, you're moving speed slower because of Yep, makes sense. And you can do that because like Alagos can take Edgerhill, and a halfling, just fine. All right, so you kind of got this this sort of thing going. So that's just so you guys know how I'm envisioning it. Got front and back, and then 2 on each side.
Like a circle, then a diamond. Okay.
It's if I connected the dots, it would be a diamond shape ish.
Like a hexagon.
Yeah, diamonds don't really have 6 points, but there's 6 people, so this diamond's got a couple extra points on it. Yeah, it's like a hexagon that's turned. Not that it matters.
This is the content we're making. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, if we're playing in person, then it might actually matter because combat maps, but regardless. Okay. Edgerhill, go and make another survival check as the night wears on, as you continue to lead the party in the direction that you want to go. And then Dala, make a perception check as you just keep an eye on the land behind you and wanting to avoid being snuck up upon. And I will say Haley or Nebuchadnezzar, either one of you can make a check as well, since you're on the back half of the sides, to kind of just keep an eye out in the whole sort of region behind you guys.
So I know I have exhaustion, but one of my powers is vigilant sense, get advantage on perception when seeking to detect enemies or ambushes. And then also part of my background is dark foreboding, that I can sense the presence of a shadow, whether it's strong or weak. So I'm not sure. So if that plays into things.
The advantage from vision will negate the disadvantage on this perception check. So it's a straight roll. And as far as dark foreboding goes, that's just an effect. There's no roll. And I will say where you are currently, you do feel sort of a generalized sense of darkness, but no specific entity or creature nearby. As you're moving through this area, which just a reminder specifically of where you guys are, if you were looking at a map of like the southeast map of Middle Earth, if you will, which I think is actually in the back of the book. I can, that's the Mirkwood. The player's handbook probably has a bigger map of Middle Earth. But you guys are basically in between the Black Gate of Mordor and Minas Tirith. And so you're kind of crossing near the Pelennor Fields, which is where the final, the siege of Minas Tirith took place. It wasn't the final battle, that was in Mordor itself. But Pelennor Fields is where the undead army came to fight for Aragorn, and where the Rohirrim charged in and attacked as Minas Tirith was being sieged by the armies of Mordor. So that field is where that battle takes place in like 60 years from today. But that's sort of the area that you're in. As the night wears on, you do notice that to your right, which is to the west, you can see the glimmer of the White City. It's still dark out, but the clouds have somewhat cleared in this area, and so there's a little bit of moonlight and a little bit of starlight to kind of guide your path a little bit. And there are faint twinkles in the distance where Minas Tirith would be, as you see just a little piece of a reflective surface glinting off of the moonlight or the starlight just right, so as to kind of meet your eyes in the darkness. And so you know that the city's there, even though you can't really see it very well. Whereas off to your left, you see a string of blackened mountains, just sort of jaggedly cutting through the sky. It's one of those things where we think about the sky being black, but even at nighttime, it's a little blue. And so when you see these black mountains, they actually stand out against the night sky in sort of an ominous way. And that sense of dark foreboding seems to come from that direction. You have a vague sense of what's on the other side of those mountains, what is going on with Mordor. But for the most part, that's not a place you simply walk to. And
I see that. But
but
you could
if you
try. You could.
I mean, Apparently, one doesn't simply walk to Mordor, but 3 hobbits can.
There it goes. Woohoo!
It's just you can't do it by yourself. And so you guys are getting close to where the bridge could be up ahead to cross the Anduin River. The bridge itself is pretty close. You haven't spotted it yet, but you've been following the river, and so you know you're getting there because you're really in between Minas Tirith and Mordor at this point. So that's what the Dark Foreboding gives you. What is your perception check?
Got a 14 for perception. So
All right, and Dala
perceiving.
and Haley. 19. Haley.
19.
You said either or for Chad and I, so I assumed he was rolling. So I didn't roll, but I can.
Well, like either or, like you could or both. Or
Oh, okay.
whatever. It's up to you. It's if you think your character is looking behind you guys. That's all.
That's a 16.
Okay, so 16, 19 for Dala, and Chad, you said 14?
Yep.
Awesome. You all 3 of you are keeping pretty good watch behind you as well, and you don't notice anything coming up from the rear. You kind of keep an eye on it for the next couple hours as you guys make your way across southward towards Eminarnen. Eventually, you get to where you can see the bridge sort of on the horizon. It's not a large structure, so it's not apparent from very far away. But about 2 or 3 minutes walking distance away is when you're finally able to make out a structure that spans the width of the Anduin River in this area. Edgerhell specifically, you see it first because of dark vision, because of your elven eyes, and because you're in the front of the group. You can actually spot it at a distance where if you point it out to somebody, they can't see it. And so you let the group know you guys are getting close, but a few minutes go by, gets to the point where everyone else, you can kind of look around and you can see the bridge in the distance. You know that you're all getting relatively close to the bridge. Your senses are all kind of on high alert at the moment as you've handled an ambush from a warg and a hobgoblin, and now you're trying to get away from a large party of them. But for the most part, as far as you can tell, nothing has really snuck up behind you guys. You get to the bridge. Seems to be of sturdy make. It is carved out of stone. So Nebuchadnezzar, with your stone proficiency.
Yes.
If you would like, you can sort of investigate the make of the bridge and see if you know anything about it.
Alrighty. Well, I got myself a that's a history check, but it's multiple. Okay, I got myself a 15.
15. Okay. I like that. Let me see here.
Well,
Right.
I know for one thing, it is made of stone, so I got that one figured out. And what else is there?
Not styrofoam. Painted to look
just
like stone.
Scratching my braided flower in creviced beard. That's probably like all sorts of gnats and stuff in there because I've been on the road for so long.
Still have the flowers in your beard.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
they're mostly all dead though.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're probably all dead by now.
Okay.
It adds to the intimidation.
All right. So you said 15?
Yep.
Okay. So with a 15, you don't immediately know a lot about this particular bridge, but you know a little bit. With a 15, it is actually of dwarven make, which is interesting and makes you a little bit excited at first, but you recognize some of the methods that were being used.
Yeah, I know that.
Oddly enough, the methods that they're using, that were used to cut this bridge and the pieces that make up its structure are very old methods that have actually been relatively lost over the ages. Currently, you guys are in the Second Age, and a couple thousand years into the Second Age. This bridge was made at some point during the First Age. The build of it stands out to you as being something that was eventually lost at some point during the original War of the Ring. This bridge was something that was crafted by the dwarves during the first stage before the battle against the forces of Mordor, which was fought in this area and eventually in Mordor as well. And it was a group of men, elves, and dwarves that fought back against the Dark Army of Mordor. And at that time, there was a really strong allegiance between those three races. And this bridge and its craftsmanship was actually a gift from the dwarves to the men of Gondor as a sign of their kinship and budding political friendship as well. The men mainly just had a functional bridge. It was not special. It was just, it worked.
Chad starts to tear up.
It was a bridge. It was fine.
Yeah.
But dwarves,
yeah.
Dwarves don't understand. It's good enough when it comes to structure. It's either awful or it's great. There is no good enough. And so they used to tease the men of Gondor, and even the leaders of the dwarves sometimes would tease Isildur himself about this functional bridge. It became not an actual sore spot between the two of them, but just the men almost got to the point where they didn't want to replace the bridge or make it better because it bothered the dwarves so much. Whenever they saw it, they would just mock it. And so eventually the dwarves actually sent some folk over to this land to build this near Minas Tirith as a gift and just a show of
Ego.
Well, what I will say is I'll look at the elves in the party. I'll say, see, y'all build with wood and it rots, but you build something in stone, it will last for the ages. See, now that was wise. So, that's a pretty wise guy right there. Anyway, keep on walking here. Very wise. So you got to build with stone. That's what we dwarves do, Stone builder, stone masons.
That might be the smartest thing I've ever heard you say, Chad.
Yeah, well, I've said some pretty more smart things. Thank you very much.
So you guys cross the bridge. There's no creaking or swaying, and it doesn't give way as you walk over it because it was made very well.
Yeah.
You guys cross over to the other side of the Anduin River. In the several days, couple weeks even, since you entered the Mirkwood, been over a month really since the start of your journey together. This has been the most peaceful crossing of moving water that you guys have experienced. You've never had a bridge, and so it's been like, oh man, look at that, bridges are fantastic. And you guys are just really grateful that you didn't have to cross the Anduin upstream.
The name of the session, bridges are fantastic.
There you go. Gotta love bridges. You guys get to the other side of the Anduin River, approaching Emin Arnen, and somewhere in the hills of Emin Arnen, is your destination, the Tarnos, where the Silver Hand is headquartered and where they operate out of. An old bastion of defense, a sort of a walled castle or citadel of some kind that used to be a forward operating base, which is what we say in modern day in the military. But I'm blanking on what the term would be, but sort of an outpost in between Minas Tirith and Gondor and Mordor. And so there are others that have fallen and actually been taken by the dark forces of Mordor. But that doesn't really have a bearing on this story, so I'm not going to just show off a bunch of random Lord of the Rings knowledge because I'm going to move on. But the Witch King of Angmar had a castle that he stole. Anyway,
Okay.
So you cross into this hilly region of Emin Arnen, looking for Tarnos, and passive perceptions from everyone because I have them, but I don't think I updated them after your proficiency increased. All right, so Haley's got an 11. Dala, I have 13 for you. Is that accurate still? It's going to be on your left-hand side below all of your skills. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar, 11.
If our proficiency is still +2, I guess that's right.
Okay. Yeah, it goes to +3 level 5. And then Eldikar, I do not have yours. It's gonna, if you don't have it written on your character sheet, it is 10 plus your proficiency modifier.
Then I should have a 12 then.
So you got 12? Okay.
Yeah.
Torin.
Isn't it? I thought it was 10 plus your wisdom modifier.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Oh, is there wisdom?
It's I say perception because if you're proficient in perception, you get that bonus in your passive perception.
Okay,
So
well, I am not proficient in perception, so make it 11 again.
So if you have a 14 in wisdom and all you do is add that to 10, you would think your passive perception is 12. But if you're proficient in perception, your 12 would actually be a 14. So your passive perception would be 14 if you're proficient in perception.
Gotcha.
Sorry,
So,
I got confused again. So if I'm not proficient in perception, so I guess it would just be 12.
because next to perception, the number that you write there is either going to be your wisdom modifier or your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. So whatever that number is will get added to 10, and that's passive perception. So so if you're not proficient and your wisdom is a 14 or a 15, then it's 12.
So my perception modifier on its own is +7, counting wisdom, counting proficiency, and other
17.
stuff. So it'll be 17. Okay.
17. 7 plus 10. Okay, so that's good to know because I had 16 for you.
My wisdom modifier is +3.
Okay, so that would mean so your wisdom modifier is +3.
Correct.
So
is
your
my passive perception 13?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's what it is. Yes, 13.
There we go. 13.
Okay.
All right. Because you're not proficient in perception.
I am not. No.
Okay. All right. I think I still had your other characters passive on my list. That's why. Okay. So I will say Edrahel, specifically you, with a 17. You start to notice movement up ahead. And right as you kind of put your hand up to kind of tell the party to slow down a little bit, sort of all at once, everyone else kind of notices that there's movement going around as you look, and suddenly you are surrounded on the hill by probably 10 humanoid figures. They all appear to have crossbows or bows drawn at the ready. And they're up on hills around you. You're just kind of surrounded all of a sudden. They've made their presence known as you guys kind of come to a halt. And you hear a voice, but you don't know which one of the people up on the hills is speaking. And it's normal voice, hard to place the accent, probably humanoid, but you're not sure. As someone asks, "Who goes there?"
Torrin's been to Arnos before, correct?
Once.
Okay, so do I recognize like the garb and what they're wearing?
It's pitch black outside for the most part, and there's no, like, your torchlight doesn't reach that far because they're up on hills, so you just see like black silhouetted figures. However, just roll a d20 for me.
Sure.
All right.
I got a 10.
Okay. It takes you a second. You're not positive, but you think you recognize the voice as the captain of the watch, Captain Bogren.
Captain who?
Bogren.
Okay.
It's one of the NPCs that I had sent to you that you had met at some point while you were in Tarnus before.
Gotcha. I tell the group, everyone halt. I think this is Captain Bogren. Met him before. Haley, you're good with words. Do you want to announce our presence?
We're just weary travelers. We can better explain where we're headed in the morning. But if we can, we just really want to stop somewhere in city-wise to rest. And we're kind of tired of camping. We've been a long way.
There's a figure that kind of steps down from the hill slightly in front of you. Doesn't come down the hill far enough that he's actually within 30 or 60 feet. So he's not really illuminated by your torches. But he steps down a little bit closer to you guys and says, if it's lodging that you need, turn around, cross back over the Anduin, and maybe the guardsmen outside Minas Tirith will let you into the city for the night. There is no lodging in these hills, young lass.
Well, sorry, my notes just went blank, so I'm trying to find them again. Gotcha. Do you happen to know the person who sent us here? His name is Maglor.
Can't say I've ever heard the name before, sorry.
I said, tell him about the silver hand. And I whisper, I was about to hear me. Tell him it's a secret society on a secret mission for him that we can't let anyone know about. But I'll leave it up to you. But make sure they know it's a secret so they know we're part of them.
What are you saying, Haley?
She thought for sure that the Maglor name would get her in, and there's no instructions from Maglor other than that. Because this is Tarnost, right?
You have no idea.
Okay.
What?
You're not standing outside of a castle. You're in the middle of the hills, and you got surrounded by a bunch of people with weapons, and one of them is asking you to leave the hill area. What are you guys doing?
So, we were sent here to help fight against the shadow. We started in the Mirkwood, where we came across a stranger named Maglor, and he pointed us in this direction. We are, in all honesty, seeking out a fortress. Are you familiar with a fortress named Tarnost?
Can't say that I am.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure.
Okay.
He's lying. Who knows about her?
That is an 18.
Ooh, very insightful.
Oh, I know. Come here real quick so I can whisper something.
Oh,
Aha, she lives with
You don't
me.
want to just text me?
Well, it's going to be
this is some
faster
behind
to
the
walk over here and I
scenes.
whisper it to you. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
would text you.
Spoiler alert, they live in the same house.
It's true.
Spoiler alert, they're married.
What?
Oh no, you think she's gonna mention us being part of the secret society or what? 'Cause I feel like we should tell people because,
All right.
otherwise I think we're just some normal blokes walking around. But if they know we're
She
part of the
has
secret
left
society,
the room and is returning to the computer after I have whispered secret information to her. That was actually a really good insight roll.
Forgive me. I realize it's the middle of the night, and if we're just strangers that show up in the middle of the night, which is a little sketchy. But if we were to return in the morning, would there be someone that we could talk to, perhaps? Someone who might know who sent us here?
The man steps forward a little bit closer Eventually, he steps into close enough that he's sort of in the light of the torches that y'all are carrying, and you notice he's not drawn a weapon or anything, but as he walks up, he's wearing nice armor. It appears to be the typical livery of a guard or watchman or some sort of military force. He's got a sword on the left side, and he's got a hand kind of resting just over the sheath of the blade as he walks towards you guys. He's still about 40 feet away or so at this point, but the torchlight is reaching his face, and you still notice there's at least a dozen people in the hills around you guys. And he goes, maybe I didn't make myself clear, but there's nothing here, and you need to leave.
I would like to use counsel, which means that I make a charisma check with advantage, and if I succeed, the person must also against a wisdom saving throw with him, then he's considered friendly towards me.
Okay. So he makes a wisdom save?
Yeah. Because I've been cordial. I haven't been hostile towards him.
Rolled an 18 plus his.
Oh, God.
I do have advantage, and it's
You got
charisma.
this.
Okay, I'm confused. Why are we both rolling? You don't ever both roll for something. Read the text to me. What are you supposed to do?
Choose one creature within earshot and make a charisma check with advantage. Your opponent may make a wisdom saving throw. If you succeed against their wisdom saving throw, then that creature is considered friendly towards you.
That's really weird. A contested roll for that. Okay. That never heard of that for anything other than grapple. So, okay, fair enough. So I rolled a total of 21.
Oh, God.
Natural 20.
Oh, wow.
Again?
Yes.
Wow.
Most persuasive you've ever been.
And that would be a 23 if it matters.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
You will be my friend. Okay.
So he's not charmed.
Yeah, he's not
I
charmed.
just was able to show me,
he has a nicer disposition towards you. Do you say anything?
So if you're trying to convince a neutral party to.
Also, at this point, Torin, from where you are, you don't know if he's looked at you because he's seen Haley and he's talking to Haley. But now that he's stepped into the light, this is Captain Bogren. You've only met him once or twice, but it is him.
Thank you. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Now that he stepped into the light, you're pretty positive at this point.
I would just really appreciate it if we could just have a moment of your time to better explain our situation. One where we're perhaps not standing out in the middle of the woods with weapons pointed at us. You've seen none of us have our weapons drawn.
You have 10 minutes. Plead your case. Who are
Oh,
you?
God.
Torin, are you speaking up?
I was waiting. I didn't know what you're doing. Sure. Torin steps up. Captain Bogren, good to meet you again. I'm not sure if you remember me. My name is Torin Stormflight. I am a ward of Radagast the Brown, and these are the champions of light. We come to you on an important mission, and we're sent here.
Thinks for a moment, and then his brow kind of furrows a little bit, and he looks back at you kind of quizzically. Torin, yes. Yeah, the Brown Wizard. He sent you here a couple times. It's been a long time. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you.
What-
Well met, my friend. These are great champions.
Sorry, what was that last part? I missed it.
These are great champions. I can vouch for them as well.
He approaches the party, gets a lot closer,
God.
and he says, Torin, can we have a minute?
Yes, indeed.
And he kind of walks off to the side with you.
Should I come over to your place so you can whisper?
Right. Everyone is
Drive over
wearing
there.
headphones. Can you all take them off and I will wave? We're done.
While this is happening, I give Chad another cookie because I can tell he's getting antsy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone take your headphones off for a second. I'll wave when you can put them on.
You just turn the volume all the way down.
So he looks at you, Torin, and he goes, your short friend over there, she mentioned Maglor. Is she telling the truth?
She is indeed. They have been sent to meet the Silver Hand.
We haven't had word from him in months. The darkness that's taken over the Mirkwood. It's growing. It's getting more powerful. He presides over that area.
It has indeed. They encountered him in the Mirkwood. That was before I joined their party. They were able to slay a great beast. They lost one of their members. That is why Radagast sent me to aid them. And from my understanding, Maglor told them to come here and seek the aid of the Silver Hand.
And you mentioned the Silver Hand by name.
By name.
That is a closely guarded name. If he was going to mention it, he must have trusted them for some reason. And you trust these folk as well?
I do. He looks over at Chad. Yes, all of them.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Sure. I got 16.
He ponders for a moment. You can tell he's thinking about a lot of things. And after about 10 or 12 seconds or so, he looks up at you. It's good to see you again, Torin. Seems we have a lot to talk about. And well, if Maglor sent you, then maybe you can help us. We could definitely use it. Let's get you guys inside. And,
Thank you, Captain.
He nods and he turns and you guys start walking back to the group.
Are we dead?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so guys, I was able to negotiate. Only 2 of you have to die.
Yeah.
The rest of you guys are free to go. So
All
have fun.
righty.
Oh, you
All
forgot. You
right.
didn't pick who was dying before we went back to the group. Who did you want him to
Okay.
kill?
Wait, what?
All right.
No, you guys are good. So you notice about 2 minutes pass, and then Torin and Captain Bogren walk back towards your group. And Captain says, well, to be honest, you guys are lucky. I'm familiar with this young man. He's been here before, and he speaks highly of you. And I trust him. More importantly, I trust the one who sent him. And if what you say is true, then, well, most of us owe our allegiance to the one who sent all of you. You refer to him as Maglor. It's a very ancient name. We know him as Bahukazad. Why don't you come with us? Tarnas is this way. And he puts
I
his...
smile and offer him a cookie.
he chuckles and... don't know the last time I had a cookie. Sure.
The last
I
one?
mean, he holds his hand out and he takes a cookie. What kind of cookie is it?
Just a shortbread, because those are easy to keep.
He takes a bite into it. He goes, well, I got to be honest. It's been a long time since I've had anything with sugar in it. So it's a little sweet, but it's good. It's good.
Hobbits make good food.
You're the first hobbit I've met, but I can tell.
You should come by the Shire sometime.
Maybe I will, little one. Maybe I will. He puts his hand up and signals them to unknock the arrows from their bows, lower their crossbows. And just as quickly as the guard appeared atop the hills, you notice them very quickly sort of descend on the other side and disappear in about half a second or so. And he leads you through this winding path through various hills of 20, 30, 40 feet tall. Some of them much taller, some of them a little bit shorter than that. But it's about 2 or 3 minutes as you sort of find yourself descending slightly, where the average elevation of the ground is getting lower, until maybe about 5 minutes later, it seems like those short hills have grown to almost mountains, but in reality, the ground itself in between them has sunken lower and lower down, until eventually you come around the crest of one of these now just magnificent hills, deeper into Eminarn, and you come around the edge of a hill, and you're met with a small wall surrounding stone-built structure, some sort of fortress, perhaps. It sounds like you would expect it to be, if it is in fact Tarnost. The wall that separates you has a portcullis and a drawbridge, which are currently lowered and raised, respectively. Torin, you and Captain Bogren speak briefly as you guys make your way towards this area. You're familiar with what you're looking at now. It is, in fact, Tarnost. And Captain Bogren steps ahead of you all. He makes a signal, a special whistle that he does. And then moments later, the drawbridge is lowered down. And as you guys are crossing the portcullis in front of you, the grated gate set into the wall of Tarnost is lifted up. You guys pass through, and as the last of you are stepping off the drawbridge, not wasting a moment, as soon as you're kind of stepping off, the drawbridge begins to raise up behind you for security. And then you make your way through the portcullis. As soon as you guys are inside the walls of this small enclosure, the portcullis is brought down behind you. Captain Bogren says, well, it seems we have much to talk about. Thalius, Breton, and two watchers scale down from the wall, come down to all of you. And he goes, the two of you take care of their animals, store any bags that they have. Anything you guys don't need to have on you in this moment, we can secure for you. If there's anything that you would like to hand over other than your animals. Thalius and Bren here, they're a couple of our watchers. They can guard it.
I give them my carving of a horse. That's it.
Okay.
I'll say, you look after that.
Is Rada staying with you, or is Rada?
Yeah, I would like Rada to stay with me. Okay. I say, thank you, gentlemen, but he's a good dog. He'll follow me.
Very well. You there, your horse, would you like us to take it to the stable? If you're going inside, there's not many buildings that can accommodate the horse. He's talking to you, Edrahel, about Alagos.
I spent some time with Alagos, and I asked her if she would like to come with me or go with you.
Okay. Make an animal handling check.
I have a feeling that her response will be nay, no matter what.
Nay.
Wow.
Hey.
Hey,
Is for horses.
All in favor say nay.
15.
15. You spend a moment with Alagos, and even though you can't hear words and sentences from her, you do get the sense that she has a good head on her horse shoulders, a good sense of danger and of safety, and she doesn't feel uncomfortable right now, and she's comfortable with being separated.
All right. Then I let her go with you guys, with the guys.
All right. So Thalius and Bren gather up any extraneous bags that you guys have on you that you don't want to lug around while going around having some conversations, and then the animals minus Rada, and they take them over to a stable. Captain Bogren, as they're walking away, says to you guys, the stable's just a short walk, maybe 2 minutes that way. The stuff will be there when you're done, whether you'd like to leave or find lodging within, well, I'd say town, but it's a little small to be a town. But regardless, your wares will be safe in the meantime. Do you know if there's anyone in particular that Bahukazad wanted you to speak with? Did he give you any names? Anyone?
Just a moment.
Someone who was there.
Yeah, just the main guy, the main one. Yeah. If he's important, he's probably the right one. We're after here. Yeah.
I don't have a name written down.
Me neither.
I will toss this out there just to help Torin, even though you didn't speak with Bahukazad. Just a little reminder, because you might miss it. It's just a small line in your notes that you do have a letter from Radagast for the Silverhand.
Okay.
Thank
you very much.
Deliver. Yep. And I do not believe that Maglor gave you guys a name.
No, but
You did not.
we did see some pretty concerning things in the Mirkwood, and not just, I mean, we understand that there are some concerning things already in the Mirkwood, but no offense, Andrew Hell. But I realize that I'm not quite as traveled as the rest of this group, but it was unlike anything I've ever seen. It's something that was made. I'm convinced it's not. There's something at work in the shadow that whoever is, I guess, your troop leader, if that's you, it might be good to be made aware of.
Boy Scout.
Thorin pulls out the letter. I have a letter for the Silverhand.
He goes, and you are here. Welcome to the Silverhand. Well, if there's a missive from Radagast, if he didn't give you a name, my assumption he probably wants it to be delivered to Etiel. Etiel is our de facto leader at this point. It's not that she has been appointed or elected, but she is the oldest among us and the founder of this group of ruffians, if you will.
I didn't vote for him.
Yeah. And who said a girl could be in charge? Am I right? Guys up here. Okay, putting down the hand now. Stand in the back.
Oh god.
So
About to
Etiel.
ruin our whole escapade.
Etiel is the person in charge, roughly, the person that Bahukazad reports to, and she oversees a lot of our operations. Aside from her, the only other person I can think of that he might have wanted you to speak with would be Keeper Asarius. He manages a lot of things. It's hard to describe, but consider him the lore keeper. He knows everything about the organization's past, present, and a good bit about its future as well. So he's a good fellow to be.
Maybe he would recognize what we saw, because if he doesn't recognize it, then that's concerning.
It's possible. It's possible. Well, that's up to you. Would you like me to bring you to Etiel? She is a Thane of House Corinne, or to Keeper Asarius?
Well,
say-
since
Sorry, you
since
go.
we just stumbled across here, we didn't stumble across, but we're visitors, we're foreigners, obviously. Would it be appropriate for us to see your leader? Would she have a desire to meet with us?
It's possible, given who sent you is her direct report.
Torn says, I think my preference would be to see Etiel if possible. I believe this missive might be of a important nature, so I think it might be good to talk to her if she's available, of course. Says with a little bow.
Or you
As
get
you may
both
be
of them.
aware, as he gives kind of a side glance to Edrel, elves don't need to sleep as much as folk like you and I. So I'm pretty sure she is awake. Let me go and see if she has time. And so he leads you guys sort of deeper into Tarnost, where there's more of like a structured citadel, if you will, and pauses outside to let you guys know. Just wait here for a moment. Let me go in and be back in a few. A few minutes pass. You're just kind of standing around. You see a couple people walk by. They're all kind of eyeing you a whole lot.
I'm gonna eye them back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eye them
And
back.
start lightly strumming my lute.
I want to make sure that they know that I'm eyeing them back too.
Yeah.
And then I lean over to Dada. Well, I always say, I don't like it in here. There's not enough things to kill.
The majority of the people that walk by that you see are human. There are a couple elves. You don't see any of the dwarves at the moment, though.
Yeah. This place. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? No dwarves. I mean, what year is it again? And there's still no dwarves in here? That's horrible. That's just horrible.
Well, they had the dwarven bridge leading this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All I'm saying is the quicker we get out in the wild where there's no rules and cordials and little bows, the better. But that's just my humble opinion, which I'm known by my humility.
Hello there. It appears that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
You
go
can
on,
interrupt
please.
him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It tends to be a really
please.
recurring theme.
Etiel has a few moments. She's very curious what word you bring from both Baukazad and Radagast. If you would follow me quickly. It appears your timing is fortuitous. She was actually in the process of meeting with Keeper Asarius, so you'll be able to connect with them both. So
What do you know?
isn't that fortuitous? And so he turns around and leads you guys into the building. You go down a few passageways. Eventually, there's a decently ornate but wooden door that opens up into a smaller chamber. A chamber that the walls are lined with these large shelving pieces that are full of rolled papers, just stacked as high as the ceiling, which is about 15 feet high, and just all of the walls. It looks like there's centuries or maybe even millennia of information scattered in this room. You guys relay the information that you've been given from the elven man that you know as Maglor. Eventually, Torin, you hand over the letter that you were given from Radagast. She sits and listens, as does Keeper Asarius. Etiel is an elven woman. She looks a little bit older than most elves that you see. In order for an elf to start to look kind of old, you recognize she's been around for thousands of years. Keeper Asarius himself is a human man. He also looks older, but that's because he's probably in his 60s or 70s, not 3,000 or 4,000 years old. But he doesn't speak while you guys are talking. He's listening, nodding. There's a few moments where you mention some of the things you saw in the Mirkwood. where he just quietly stands up from the table and starts looking along these rows and rows and rows, hundreds of parchments in this one spot that he's sort of picking through, and eventually he pulls something out and he quietly reads it to himself while you continue to brief Etiel on the information you have until eventually you get to the end. After sharing everything you encountered in the Mirkwood, she's read over the letter from Radagast, and now Asarius walks over for the first time, speaks up. At this point, probably an hour and a half has gone by. And Asarius says, "Would you say that this is the kind of creature that killed your friend?" And he stretches out a rolled parchment on the table, and you see this diagram drawn, and there's some kind of rendition of something that looks like the Urukai that killed your friend.
Yes.
Yes, it was something like an orc, but much larger and stronger.
And you encountered this in the Mirkwood?
Yes, at a fortress that seemed to be abandoned.
This is grave news indeed. Orcs are easy to deal with, but this creature seems to be powerful. We don't know much about it. Atiel, it may be best if we focus our efforts in this area, as we try and figure out what it is that they're doing. I have a feeling it may be something big. Etiel looks back. I think you're right. The Silver Hand has been operating for many years. It's been a secretive organization, one that operates in the shadows. A network of informants spread across Gondor, Rohan, and the lands beyond. We know that at some point in the future, another fight is coming. We don't know when, but every day it looms closer, and the darkness and shadow grows stronger. If we're going to win the next war, we're going to win it because of information. We're going to win it because we know our enemy. Our enemy is smarter and stronger than they were the first time. Unfortunately, elves and men and dwarves are weaker and more fractured than they were last time. It's an uphill battle. But that's why we exist. To find any weakness we can, to gain any advantage that we can, before we are met with war. If Bahukazad has sent you to us, then he believes that you can aid us in this effort. There will be some fighting, Nebuchadnezzar. There will be some spying, a little bit of adventure, but definitely all the above. Does that sound like something you would be interested in?
Boy.
You have my bow.
And you have my axe.
Rada puts up his paw.
I glance at Haley and Alec. I'm like, do something, put something down.
I
I'll
put
do
down
my
the
best.
spiky shield.
I put my loot down.
Torn puts down his arrow.
I had a feeling that would be your response. You can all take your weapons back.
Just
Welcome
Thank you
to
for
the
recognizing it's a weapon.
all right. Yeah, okay.
Well, this is awkward, but I have some work to do. We'll have to be in touch shortly. But let me be the first to say welcome to the Silver Hand. And Captain Bogren is outside. He can show you where you'll be staying, at least for the foreseeable future. Glad you made it. It's a long journey from the Mirkwood across wide open land. A lot of enemies between here and there.
A lot.
Seems like there was a hand guiding you.
Is it a silver hand?
Ah, you stole it. You stole it from me.
I was right there.
Oh, you got it from. I was expecting, and then I was gonna say it, but then Elgon, and then
And
yeah.
that is where we will end at least this
For
chapter
that.
of the campaign and potentially the campaign. We'll see.